whilst we sit here right now and many people are acting like Maresca's done this fantastic job since coming in, it is now that we see just how good of a job he has done, or if that Christmas period f***ed us. It's the final stretch of this year's Premier League campaign, and Chelsea currently, somehow, sit in 4th place. Pole position to many, but with the remaining games left to play, on paper, it isn't looking good. Fixtures aside, the table itself tells a story of what might be to come. Now, first off, yes, Chelsea do sit in 4th place, but with the newly crowned League Cup champions just 2 points behind us with a game in hand, you'd be right in thinking there's an increased level of adrenaline in their final stretch. Man City currently on track to finishing their lowest in over 14 years with a points per game of 1.7. They're ranking in Pellegrini level points in his final season, where they finished 4th on 66 points. Remember that number, because that is going to come in handy later on in the video. Brighton and Fulham sit in 7th and 8th place respectively at the time of recording. Probably stand the lowest chance out of those in the top 9, and I am discounting Bournemouth from this equation given their recent drop in form. That might change. The aforementioned clubs, however, are battling for any form of European football, ideally, but with the points so close at the top, why couldn't they challenge for a place in the big one? Aston Villa, they're a strange one. Villa are a strange one, still in 2 cup competitions, one of them being the Champions League. They have been floating around the bottom half of the top of the table, so a top 4 spot might be off the cards. However, with that said, they're not far away from winning the Champions League, which would in turn secure a spot next season. Win it or not, surely that is where their focus lies. With that out of the way, here are Chelsea's final opponents that I think, these are my predictions for how it's going to go. Kicking things off, we have Tottenham Hotspur. What a way to kick off our final run in this up and down campaign, it would be to say. Arguably the best fixture the league has to offer in recent years when you think of high intensity, action packed, lots of drama. It has it in abundance, both home and away. 3 wins in the last 3, and with the game being held at the Bridge and Spurs only having won once away from home against Chelsea in the league, the odds are in our favour. Not to mention the shit show going on with them this year. 14th place after 29 games. I'm predicting another win for Chelsea. Up next, we've got another London derby, and a local one at that. A side that we have struggled against massively since their promotion back in 2021. We finally managed to end a horrid 5-game winless run with a 2-1 victory at home back in December. Regardless of a late Mbeumo goal, Chelsea got there comfortably. A tricky side to predict, but based on their recent form, recently beat Bournemouth, lost to Villa and drew to Everton, all following a 2-0 loss to Tottenham a few games prior. It's all over the place. But if we're beating Tottenham, I've got to expect us to get all 3 points against Brentford. A win for Chelsea once again. Ipswich Town up next, a side that, you know, was a massive part of our falling out of the alleged title race during the Christmas period. A dubious penalty and a goal from Amari Hutchinson, a former player of ours. It was the perfect Chelsea game for our opponents. Everything that could have gone wrong did. That said, as of recording, Ipswich have not won a Premier League game since that day, and are the front runners for, or one of the front runners, for relegation. So whilst unlikely that Chelsea bag 3 wins in a row, I've got to go with Chelsea to make up for the shit show earlier this season. Another win for Chelsea. And this is where it starts to go downhill a bit. Following that, it's another London derby, another local derby as well, this time against our recently noisy neighbours as of late. Beating us From being 1-0 down, a late goal saw them gain their first win at the Bridge since 1964, with their performances in the Premier League being perfect as of late, consisting of back and forth wins. It's not necessarily perfect, but it does go with a win-loss, 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 win-loss over and over and over again. With that record, it would mean, if it was to carry on until we play them, that a win against us should be the order of the day if that pattern was to continue. That said, they're only 4 points behind us right now. I don't see us getting 3 points against them, and I do see our win streak ending with a draw in this game. A draw. Everton, where it all went downhill originally this season. The Toffees, as of the time of recording, haven't lost in the league in ages. 9 games, in fact, with their most recent defeat coming to Aston Villa, ending a 6-game winless streak. I personally hate playing Everton, and I always feel as though they can pull a fast one on us. That said, our last game at home to Everton ended 6-0 last season. So obviously different times, different players, but it has to be considered. I'm going to go with a hard-fought win. I'm going to go with a hard-fought win into our game against the league leaders. Not even the biggest issue in this run of games, purely because it seems that it's likely to be a loss. So, anything more than a loss is a win in the regards to like this final run of games. And it's got to be seen as an inevitable L. Defeatist, perhaps you might see it that way, but I'm just being realistic based on the other games as well. Out of all of them, this seems like the biggest and most inevitable L. I'm going with a loss. The first of this run so far. We haven't beaten them since 2021, and we haven't won at home against them since 2018. League leaders, league winners, stinky right now, being knocked out of every single cup in the space of a week or so. But let's be realistic here. I just can't. If we win this game, it could be good. It could be, a sign that we are going to get top 4. But as of right now, with the way we're playing, with the way that we're going at the moment, I just don't see us winning in this game. A loss for Chelsea. And it doesn't get much better. It doesn't get any easier with us coming up against Newcastle for a horrific final 3. After winning their first trophy in donkey's years, they'll be on a high, and with a game in hand over us right now, they will overtake us if they win that game. By just 1 point, but they will be ahead of us. When they face us at St. James's Park, by the way, I think it'll be tricky, and I'm not confident. I'm not confident at all. Knocked us out of the League Cup, and they went on to win said cup. Haven't beaten us away since 2021. It's another one of those stinky records, which, sure, we could. But let's be realistic here. I'm going to go with another loss, unfortunately. Speaking of poor records, Manchester United, awful season for them. Will it make any difference to the result when we play them, or will they do the inevitable and show up against us like they always do, regardless of form? It's hard to imagine anything else given what we've put up with over the last decade. However, being at the Bridge, I think we stand a slightly smaller chance than if it were away. Obviously, we haven't won there since about 2012. I would have been 18. So it's been a while. It's been a while. I probably would have been younger, actually. 2012, what's that? 17, I would have been. Jesus Christ. Penultimate game of the season, all to play for, most likely. And a win is absolutely crucial heading into God knows what could be a final matchup against Nottingham Forest, who are just fighting and doing well, by the way, in getting in that top 3. United's league form, however, is all over the place. But I think, I pray, I hope that we can figure something out, because frankly, if we've lost against Liverpool, lost against Newcastle, and then lose against United, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. However, I'm going to go with a draw. The final game. Arguably the biggest game of the final day in the whole competition, in the whole league. This, in all the fixtures on the final day, is a big one. a top 3 decider, a top 4 a top 5 decider. Who knows? Either way, it's imperative we win this game. Away from home, final day against a side fighting consistently all season to maintain a high spot in the league. And whilst many will argue they deserve just that, if we can pip them to it on the final day, it will come via a very, very hard-fought win, all things considered. Away from home is the big one here. The crowd is going to be absolutely raucous. It's going to be up for the occasion. Much like when we played against Everton on games where you think, this is a must-win. For Everton, must win. You get the picture. The fans are always up for it. For this game, I can't confidently predict a win, but I don't think we will lose. A draw earlier this season, a must-win game for both on the final day. It has draw written all over it, especially if both sides don't need a win necessarily. I'm going to go with a draw. But with the fixtures before, if it goes differently for either side, it could go either way. If we need a win and they need a win, I see it ending a draw. But if we've already fucked it by then, I could see Nottingham Forest turning us over quite easily. All said and done, based on those predictions, Chelsea would register just 15 points, taking our tally for the season to 64. If you remember what I said earlier about 66, our tally being 64 with just 2 losses in that run is what I've predicted against Liverpool and against Newcastle. It's brutal. It's brutal. The maximums of the clubs around us include Forest with 81, City with 75, Newcastle with 77, Brighton 74, Fulham and Villa with 72 apiece. The nearest team with a maximum of 64 points, as I have predicted, in the final run is Manchester United, who currently sit in 13th place as of the time of recording. So whilst we sit here right now and many people are acting like Maresca's done this fantastic, phenomenal job since coming in, it is now that we see just how good of a job he has done, or if that Christmas period absolutely fucked us in the build-up to what has written all over it a disastrous final run of games. Our maximum is 76, but it simply won't happen. I'm predicting that we finish 6th and narrowly miss out on Champions League football next season. So many mistakes this season that just shouldn't have happened, didn't need to happen. That if we all we needed was a couple of extra points, who do you blame? The manager, the sporting directors, the players, who? Realistically, only time will tell how we fare. Frankly, due to our own mistakes, it's only going to take a miracle. That's all we need is a fucking miracle to get us into the top 4. Personally, I don't think Champions League will do us any good. I think genuinely Europa League is where we need to go, especially if we win the Conference League this year. We then go on, win the Europa League, and then, and only then, do I think we might have a chance at competing in the Champions League. Whereas if we go into it with the way we're playing at the moment, regardless of Estevao, Andre Santos, all these other players that we've got coming in next season, I think Champions League is going to be a disaster if we get there, genuinely. But it has all the makings of a classic Chelsea story of overcoming adversity should we get the top 4.